Okay, hi everybody. My name is Gloria. I am from Nature Society Singapore's Education Committee. Okay, so today, thanks everybody for taking this morning to join us. Okay, myself and Mei will be your host today, and we have our speaker Bee Choo. Okay, just to introduce Bee Choo, she is the international coordinator for the Hornbill Research Foundation, which is based in Thailand, as well as the program officer for the IUCN Species Survival Commission, and in the Hornbill Specialist Group. Okay, so Bee Choo is very experienced and has been working and observing hornbills for a long time. So I will leave it to Bee Choo to share with you about fun with hornbills. Okay, Bee Choo.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Good morning. I hope you have all seen the Oriental Pied Hornbill in Singapore. If you haven't, you can go to Pulau Ubin and Pasir. They're very easy to see there. They're large hornbills and they are very vocal. So they make loud calls. Just to give you some interesting aspect about hornbills, this is a 20 minutes talk, so we don't have that much time. Hornbills are found in Asia and Africa. There are 32 species in Asia, 30 species in Africa. So a lot of people confuse toucans with hornbills. Toucans are different species, different genus, and they are not in the same family as hornbills. Toucans are related to barbets and hornbills are related more to wood hoopoes. So there are 62 species of hornbills. 3 of them are critically endangered according to the IUCN Red List. The helmeted hornbill here, if you can see the screen, the cursor is there. Helmeted hornbill is found in the Sunda region. That means from Thailand all the way to Borneo. And the rufous-headed is in the Philippines. Sulu hornbill is in an island off the Philippines called an island called Tawi-Tawi. There are other endangered species and vulnerable species, but we won't go into this in detail. So what is the interesting aspect about hornbills? Hornbills have casques and long down-curved bill. The casque can be very big, like the Oriental Pied Hornbill or Malabar Pied Hornbill, or very small, like this one you see in the White Crown Hornbill. Helmeted hornbill is the only species that have solid casques. And they sometimes, you know, they hit the casque together during conflicts. So the casques, we believe they're to provide structural support for the long bill and also amplify the hornbill calls. So, and it's a signal of virility of the hornbills. So hornbill, the ancestors of hornbill evolved 52 million years ago, and they are currently represented by 2 genera, the Tocus hornbill in Africa and Bucovus, the ground hornbill. These are the big hornbills in South Africa. Some people confuse, as I've said, this is the toucans. And for the toucans, you can see that they do not have casques. They eat fruits too, like hornbills. So hornbills are related more to this green wood hoopoe found in Africa. So what are the habits of the hornbills? Generally, they are diurnal birds. They start feeding at dawn, early morning. Sometimes you go to the forest, you hear them at 6 a.m. They will be going to the trees and then start to look for food. Most species, you know, they have to eat like us, breakfast, lunch, dinner. They often bathe using, in the morning, and with the leaves that are soaked with rain dew. Then they dry out. They spend most of their time preening. They preen their feathers using this preen oil gland. They collect the preen oil and spread it over their wings. They are also known to dust bathe to get rid of ectoparasites. Sometimes, you know, they lie on the ground, in sandy ground, and thus bathe. So hornbills are omnivores. They eat a lot of fruits, and usually when you can see them sometimes hunting other animals too, for food. So usually during the breeding season, they need animal protein for the young chicks that are growing. So they sometimes will catch animal food like snakes, reptiles, rats. Some even eat crabs if they go to the ground and go to the river. They can find crabs there. So fig is a very important species for them. Figs are keystone species of forest plants, and sometimes there are many species, and hornbills love figs. Here I have, you can see the feeding of Oriental Pied Hornbill I recorded in February 2019 in Pasir Ris. Let me play this. Ugh. Not working. Okay. Lower, sorry. The file is very big. So, can you see? Not yet. Oh dear. Okay. Let me try again. See, the hornbills usually collect the figs or fruits, the tip of the beak, and then they toss it into their cooler pouch. So when they are feeding the chicks or the female, they will regurgitate the fruit. So when the chicks are young, the female would pick up the food. When they are older, the chicks and females, the male will feed the chicks and the female. So male is a very hardworking bird. They are the ones that provide the food for the hornbill, for the chick and the female in the nest hole. You see this nest, the female for Oriental Pied Hornbill will be there for about 3 months. These are the diets that we have in Thailand. We've studied all the species of hornbills. This at Khao Yai National Park, there are 4 species, so Oriental Pied Hornbill, Great Hornbill, Wreath Hornbill, and Brown Hornbill. And you can see that for Oriental Pied Hornbill, 33% of their diets are figs, 47% are other fruit, and 20% of animal food. So here you can see these are the fruits that sample of fruits that we recorded in Thailand. There are a lot more. So animal food comprises, like in our study, we find that there are 100 species of animals. Food. Okay, next. Oh. So this is the breeding. There have been 4 hornbills. They nest in tree holes, and this is very particular to hornbills, where the female will seal the nest using mud and feces. So before the female goes into the nest hole, the male will entice them with food during courtship. And if the female accepts the food, the male will bring the female to a nest hole that he has found, and the female will check the nest. If she accepts, they will have the mating will be outside the nest hole. So, and then she will go into the nest hole and imprison herself, sealing the hole with mud and feces, right? And you can see here the great hornbill feeding the chicks and female. These are the typical trees that Hornbills will nest in tall hardwood forest trees. This Budo is in southern Thailand. So here you can see that the female will enter the nest and the male will be in close attendance. Incubation of the egg takes about, they will lay the egg quite quickly. She will lay the egg actually, yeah. Incubation of the egg will take about 23 to 42 days, depending on species. For Oriental Pied Hornbill, it will be like 23 days. There will be 2 to 3 eggs. The chick will hatch one at a time. So the biggest sometimes have the advantage, or the one that is hatched earlier will have the advantage, and they will grow bigger. And sometimes the chick, the smallest one might not survive. So feeding is by male, and it's only this male that does all the work. And you can here see that this is the great hornbill with the chick inside the cavity. So after 39 to 50 days, the chick will grow inside. The female will come frequently to feed, of course, a few times a day. So within 39 to 50 days, the chick will be really ready to fledge, and we call them fledglings. So the male will stop feeding then to urge the chick to come out, calling nearby tree, in the tree nearby, and chick will investigate and they will struggle to get out. This is a really dangerous time for the chick because, you know, sometimes they get predated or they will fall and hurt themselves. The breeding cycle, we studied in Khao Yai National Park, Hui Ka Keng Budo. For Oriental Pied, here it is, 85 days, almost 3 months. We have studied 709 nests within in the period of 1981 to 2015, so many years of studies. Oops. Okay. Now, hornbills in Singapore. Sorry. Currently there are two species of hornbills in Singapore, Oriental Pied Hornbill, and recently we have started seeing black hornbills in Pulau Ubin. So I'll tell you more about it later. Rhinoceros hornbill, they are extinct in Singapore. Oriental Pied Hornbill. So Oriental Pied Hornbill are considered least concern in the IUCN Red List, uncommon in Singapore, and they are breeding. So here is the sound, if you can hear. I think it would be quite easy to recognize them, or like a laughter. Male 70 to 85 cm, we measure these hornbills. They are live animals. We do not, our records are from live animals, not specimens. Sometimes you see measurements that are less, because they are in other books because they measure specimens. Female a bit smaller. So the cast of the male, you can see the black spot at the tip, but female bill are smaller with black all over. Now, hornbills, Oriental Pied Hornbills, are found at the edge of forests. They are not really typical forest species. Sometimes you see them in woodlands and even coastal and riverine shrubs. So this, at the coastal area, you see that they can eat crabs because crabs come on land and they're easy to catch. Now, Oriental Pied Hornbill was recorded by Wallace, but Gibson Hill mentioned that did not record them in 1950. So there's a small population that was introduced at Upper Pierce, and Pulau Ubin recorded the first in breeding in 1997. There were some reports in early 1990s, but with this breeding records, you can be sure that the hornbills are here. So Ubin with MParks and some other people from Singapore Hornbill Project, they started putting up nesting boxes to assist with the breeding of hornbills, because lack of trees, forest trees is whatever, big trees also. Sometimes they nest in durian trees, but big trees are important for the nesting of hornbills as they are quite large, yeah. This Oriental Pied Hornbill visited my place in 2008. So with nesting constraints like lack of proper trees, Oriental Pied Hornbill, you can see that they can also nest in jars and stupas. Stupas in Thailand. Now, Black Hornbill. Black Hornbill is a recent record. You can hear the call now with a very harsh, raspy kind of call. Highest ones, they are up to 80 cm, about the same size as Black Hornbill. The difference in Black Hornbills is that they like watercourses. They're found in mainly swampy areas. So Singapore has not much of swampy land, and in Thailand, because pit swamp forest is basically removed. There are not many pit swamp forests now. So Black Hornbill are very rare in Thailand. Malaysia, the Peninsula Malaysia and Borneo, they are quite, you can still see them quite easily. So records in Singapore, we found a sub-adult in July, August 2015, and female recorded from June 2016 to January 2017. But occasionally they're still there, and apparently the female is still seen in Pulau Ubin. So what are the threats to hornbills? Hornbills, the main threat to all animals in the forest, habitat loss. Sorry, excuse me. Habitat loss in this part of the world, especially Borneo, Indonesia, is very devastating to the wildlife. Poaching is another big threat. So as I mentioned, the cast of the helmeted hornbill is much sought after by the Chinese, and they are carved as ornaments. So they are supposed to be decorating items. Sometimes, you know, hornbills are also poached by locals for food. It's a source of food, and for their traditional dance for great hornbills in the north. Some questions for hornbill researchers that they need to know. What are the species of hornbills in the area where they are found? When do hornbill breeds? What tree species are there? And food diversity. It's very important to hornbills that they have enough food. What are the threats to hornbill? Hunting, poaching. So, just to inform you that we have published books, the Hornbill Research Foundation, some recent publication, Hornbills of the World. I'm involved in this publication as well as my husband. We will be giving a copy of this book as a prize for the quiz later. So these are the people in the Hornbill Research Foundation that I work with. Dr. Pillai Punswat, she started studying hornbills in 1978, and she's still working on hornbills. I guess a lot of people there, you are not born yet, right? These are field researchers. They are a hardworking bunch. So in 2017, we started the IUCN Hornbill Specialist Group. So to work internationally, especially in Southeast Asia, I do mostly the Southeast Asia work, and my Indian counterparts, Indian subcontinent, we have African, and this guy works on captive trade. So our concern is conservation and making sure that the hornbill survive in the wild. So we have done some workshop with villagers, stakeholders, and governments on the conservation and action plans for the survival of hornbills, for helmeted hornbills and the Sulu hornbills. Helmeted hornbill in 2017, Sulu hornbill last year in March 2019. So in part of my work involved organizing conferences, workshops. So in 2009, I worked with the National Parks Board. They are the host, and we organized the International Hornbill Conference. There were about 132 participants. The next conference will be in Bhutan. Thank you for your interest in hornbills. This is the flocking of hornbills over Russia. Very majestic bird. And the flight, you can hear, they're flying very low. Bye. Thank you for your attention. This is the quiz. It's meant for 4 to 12 years old. And we have 8 questions here. Hornbills of the world will be a prize for one of the winner. Gloria would want to talk to you about this quiz. Gloria?
Yeah, okay. Okay, thanks, Bee Choo, for giving us an interesting talk. Okay, I will share the URL for the quiz now. I will share it inside the chat box. So can you all go there to take the URL? Okay, so you just click on the link. We'll give you about 1 hour between now and 10:45. Sorry, 10:45. 11:45 is the deadline to submit the quiz questions. So the winner, the person who gets all correct answer, if there are more than one, we will do a lucky draw, and the youngest kid will win the prize. Okay, but it's only for kids 4 to 12 years old. So please state your ages so that we know who you are. And of course, your name and everything is all within the URL. Okay, so now we are on to the Ask Me Anything question and answer session where Bee Choo can answer your questions. So can you all please type your questions in the chat box? There's a Zoom group chat if you look at the bottom of the page. Okay, okay, so we already have some questions inside. Okay, there's one, hold on a second.
Gloria, do you want me to go first? I can ask the first question. Okay,
Yes.
we have one question from Francis. So how do the nest holes for hornbills occur? The nest holes in the trees.
Oh, we have studied, well, woodpeckers, especially the bigger species like white-bellied woodpecker, slaty woodpecker. They are the ones who contribute the nest holes originally. And the bear and bacteria will widen the holes. So holes are very hard to come by. There are many species in the forest that take over, then occupy the nest holes. So a lot of work we do also involve modification of nest hole so that the hornbill can reuse the holes. So over 30 years, we have our staff have repaired and modified quite a lot of nests. So in some areas where the nests, the big trees are hard to come by, we have put up artificial nest box. Hope this, well, you can read it in the book if you need more information.
So in Singapore, we have put up artificial nest boxes for the Oriental Pied Hornbill, right?
Yes, in Pulau Ubin, and there are a couple at Pasir Ris, I understand.
So if you all do go around our nature areas, if you see a big box high up in the tree, those are the nesting boxes. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So on a related note, somebody's asking how many times in a year will a hornbill breed?
Once in a year. So for the breeding season is during the dry period. So once in a year, for Thailand, they start breeding in February, and they will complete by June. So, you know, when we do research, this is a very busy period. And also when we do training, we try to train people during that period of time.
Okay.
Other parts of the, like Borneo, sometimes by November, and they end in February.
Okay. So do hornbills like to eat oil palm seeds?
There are some species that take the oil palm. Oil palm is full of it's oily with lipid, right? But they are pretty hard. The hornbills like fleshy fruits, more fleshy food. Figs are one of the best. Then they have polyatia, even nutmeg is a good food. So they take big fruits and they disperse them. Hornbills are called farmers of tropical forests. So they disperse the seed wide. They fly hundreds of kilometers, and they can sort of replant the trees in poor habitat.
So would durian be one of these fleshy fruits? So someone asked, do hornbills eat durian?
Durian, they can't open the durian. Yeah, monkeys open that. So if the hornbills can get access to the open durian, they can eat durians. But in the wild, no. Usually, I think monkeys are the best. Orangutans love durians.
Okay.
You see, their bill is quite big, but they can't. You know, there's no way that they can open durians.
Okay. So what is their for myself, right? What does the bill? I mean, is adapted to eat. You just now you said mostly figs, right? But what else do they eat? Maybe you can talk more about them hunting animals to eat.
Yeah, they do eat eggs of birds if they can find. So they'll hunt in the trees. Some come to the ground, but the bigger hornbills, like great hornbills and helmeted, they don't usually come down to the ground. I've seen the white-crowned hornbills coming down onto the ground to look for animal food. Yeah, white-crowned is probably one of the species that I've shown you a picture. White-crowns are one of the species that usually come to the ground.
Okay. So, okay, back to the breeding question, right? How do female hornbills get out of their nest holes?
How do they get out? They first must break off the seal with their bill. They break it off, hit it, and then the nest hole is small, but they can squeeze through, you know. Once the head can get out, then the body will come out, and there is a bit of a squeeze, but it's not a problem for hornbills. Usually their nest hole is big enough for them to get out. But it takes a while. Sometimes you will see them struggling to come out of the nest hole.
Okay. So what is the estimated number of Oriental Pied Hornbills found in Singapore?
So I understand that the population in Pulau Ubin is about 60 individuals. And mainland Singapore, we estimate the Singapore Bird Group estimated it to be about 50 individuals.
So only 110 birds around?
Yeah.
Okay.
The population can grow, but it always depends on the food source.
Okay.
If there are enough food for them, they can breed and multiply, but not enough food. There is our forest is quite small, but there is capacity also, you know, how many hornbills. There's a question raised up not too long ago. How many species are there? How many hornbills individuals are there? And what is the population size that Singapore can host, you know.
Okay,
Any
May,
others?
to ask the question, May.
Okay, let me have a look. So one recent question: are there any predators for hornbills?
Hornbills are large birds. So in Singapore, not that many. I would consider python as one. If the hornbills, like the flashing, the chicks drop onto the ground, the chicks may get eaten by like dogs. Some raptors also can eat them. The young chicks especially. But why they nest, they seal their nest is to prevent predators from getting in. And this is a very, very good tactics and techniques that they have found.
So can we ask how wide is each hornbill's territory? Like when they meet each other, are they friendly with each other if they are from different territories, or do they start fighting?
Well, during breeding season, the territory is quite small, a few kilometers, 7-10 kilometers. But for non-breeding, sometimes you can see them flocking together to roost and to look for food. When there is a big fig tree, especially when the big fig tree is fruiting, the hornbills, you know, will gather together with other animals too, you know, with martens and other birds. They'll go to the same tree to feed together.
Okay.
I must say that, sorry, I didn't tell you about the predators in Thailand, right? We found that binturong and martens are one of the major predators of hornbills in Thailand.
Of the chicks or of the adults? For binturong and martens?
Of the chicks usually.
Oh, the chicks.
They can go and they can assess the
So they break into the nest. I mean, even though it's sealed with feces and mud.
Snakes can't break in, but martens and binturongs can do that.
So usually the adults are safe from predation. It's the young chicks that are vulnerable.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
They are high on the tree. They're big birds. Yeah.
Okay, so if the horn as a predator, right? Somebody's asking, do hornbills attack and kill smaller birds? Because there have been videos of them attacking caged birds in Singapore.
Yes, they do. They do. If they can get the birds, they will eat birds, and they do attack. Yeah, there was a record of in Toa Payoh of them eating a caged bird. Right? They're quite clever, actually. But I've seen them in Thailand. They've been attacked by greater red-tailed drongo because I guess they were going after the nest of the drongos, and the drongos attacked them. But if they can catch the hornbill, if they can catch the drongos, they will eat them. I've seen also recently in India that they catch dragonflies. There were a lot up in the tree. I saw this great hornbill catching dragonflies, using the beak and trying to catch them. The success rate is quite low, but you can hear it clicking all the time.
So how do they kill their prey? Is it with the brute force of their beak, or do they like smash it against a branch or something?
For animals like snake,
yes,
they will smash it against a branch. But for smaller animals, they can just swallow.
So
they
the
throw it up,
they
throw up in the air and swallow them. Yeah.
Okay. So do hornbills extrude pellets because all the, let's say, the fur or the feathers of the birds that they eat, are they being extruded out?
They mainly regurgitate fruits and food, right? But they do they excrete them.
Oh, excrete. Okay.
Yes.
So it's not through the mouth.
Like most birds, smaller birds, they excrete so they, along the path of their flight, they just excrete the leftovers.
Okay.
Okay, one question regarding the fledgling and mating. So the person asked, do they go back to the same nest after the fledgling leave? And the next question is, do hornbills mate for life, as in they remain loyal partners? So two questions.
Scientifically, we haven't really studied that, but we do believe that they mate for life. And we have recorded in Thailand a tree that the great hornbill has used for many years. It's in the book too. There were some years where the wreath hornbill occupied them. So there's competition there, you know. So nest holes are hard to come by, plus competitions. And there are also flying squirrels that use nest holes. So there are a lot of competition for nest holes.
So how do hornbills stake a claim at a nest hole? Do they, like, the female goes in first to seal herself inside, or is there any other way to stake a claim since they are competing for the same nest holes?
Well, in the Pulau Ubin, there was a record of this owl using, owl using the nest and the Oriental Pied Hornbill, the female, just pull it out, kill the owls.
Oh, no. Okay.
So if they want to use and they're bigger, they will take it.
Okay. Wow.
And then sometimes you see the competition, you know, the wreath hornbill and the great hornbill can compete for nests.
Okay. So in that sense, do they like fight?
Usually the wreath hornbill will lose out. Great hornbills are bigger.
Okay.
Okay. Another question: how long do the young stay with their parents before they venture off and find their own mates?
Okay. The juveniles will be around 1 year, and 3 to 4 years they will be mature enough to start their own family.
Okay. So what sort of help would the hornbill groups that you work with need to save hornbills? What can ordinary people like us have to do to help?
Well, we do a lot of research work, but we need specialists to do that. Funding is hard to come by, so we do have hornbill family adoptions. So you can adopt the hornbill's family. It's about 150 US per family, and we will give a report about the cycle, you know, the breeding season. This is in southern Thailand. So this program has been ongoing since 1994, and Dr. Pillai started it because of lack of funding source.
So where can? Oh, sorry. Continue. You can add on first. Yeah. So I was thinking they might be interested. Where can they find out more information about this hornbill family adoption?
I have to send you the form.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
I can send you the form later.
Yeah. So those of you who are interested, you can let us know, and then we can maybe pass the form to you, and then you can help adopt and conserve a family of hornbill in southern Thailand, right?
Southern Thailand.
Okay.
How long does it take for juveniles calves to grow to a full size, adult size?
3 to 4 years, depending on species. The bigger species, like great hornbill, takes a longer time.
So what is the lifespan of the Oriental Pied Hornbill? Someone is asking.
Hornbills can live in the wild for 20 to 30 years.
Okay. And in captivity, do they live longer? I mean, I'm sure
captivity, if they are feeding well, yes. Sometimes, you know, people do not feed them animal food, right? So they probably lack of protein. They might not last so long. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the OPH, Oriental Pied Hornbill, is 20 to 30 years or so?
I would say about 20 years, yes.
Oh, 20 years. Then how about, let's say, a great hornbill? Do they live longer?
Yes, they do. They do.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe 30 up to 40 years.
Wow. So is it true that like the bigger the hornbill species, the longer it lives?
Usually the lifespan is longer for bigger species, yes.
Bigger species, right? Okay.
Okay.
Someone is asking, are we able to conserve hornbills by building artificial nest holes on people's balconies, since we do not have that many large trees in Singapore?
Well, I have seen the video of this Indian grey hornbill nesting in buildings.
Okay.
Some people have resorted to that if you have a house, but usually I wouldn't recommend, yeah, because they are very noisy creature. So, yeah, probably disturb you. Yeah.
Okay. So the nest boxes that NParks has and some other groups have, how successful are they in attracting hornbills to nest there?
I think they have good success rate. I don't know the number. I have not investigated that, but it's been so successful that there are so many hornbills in Pulau Ubin. You know, I would think that at least 50% success rate.
Okay.
But they have taken down most of their nest boxes. There are only a few around now.
Why did they take it down if they want to the population to grow?
The food source here.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's already reached carrying capacity for Pulau Ubin?
I think they've reached the capacity. They're moving off to Changi and Pasir Ris and going further afield now.
Oh, that means they're putting nest boxes in Pasir Ris and Changi area?
Pasir Ris, I think they have. Changi, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Pasir Ris, I remember they have like a couple of them. But they're breeding so well now, you probably don't need assistant anymore.
Okay, so maybe you can we can wrap up because we already exceeded the time. Maybe one last question: where can people hope to see the Oriental Pied Hornbill in Singapore? Where are the best places in Singapore?
I mentioned earlier the Pasir Ris, Changi, Pulau Ubin, and Tangling area seems to be quite. People have seen them quite. Found Oriental Pied Hornbill there. I've
Tangling
seen
area, yes.
Tangling area, yeah.
Yes.
There was some breeding record at Jervois Lane.
Okay, because I used to work there and I always see hornbills as large a group as about 7 or 8 hornbills.
Yeah. Family group, yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes the parents with 3 chicks, 3 youngs.
Okay. So May, is there any last question that we should be addressing before we close off the talk?
No, I think we have answered most of the questions, so I think it's good.
Okay, Ken. Okay, thanks Bee Choo a lot for giving this talk and May and to host it also.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank
you. You enjoyed the talk.
Yes,
bye.
It was really good. Okay, the quiz by 11:45 I will close the quiz. So please submit your answers, and we hope that we can award a prize to somebody. We will write a blog on this, and then we'll announce the winner in the blog also. Okay, thank you everybody. Bye bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.